Yeah, how would we basically describe this deck? I think the part of my issue here is that Wicked and I have been fundamentally approaching it differently.
Yeah. I mean, it's a ramp deck if ramp was fair.
This
Right?
is, you know what this is? This is Druid's version of good Shaman, right? Like, this is good Druid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Which has always meant play for tempo, but... Welcome to episode 546 of Concede, a Hearthstone podcast dedicated to making the competitive side of the game more accessible to you. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2026 in the evening. Coming to you from Nomergon, Ohio, it's me, Edelweiss. From North Rend, Massachusetts, we have Wicked Good.
Aye.
From Teldrassil, California, we have Megasa.
Hello.
And from all around the world, we have you, dear listeners. This week's episode is brought to you by our producers, Number Theory, Crash, Beef Squatch, David P., Jeremy T., Bottlecaps, Grumpy Monk, The Burger Club, Kirk Regan, May, NY Kiwi, Spine, Grizzly Bear, and by our patrons of the week, Minnesota Fats and Livdera. You can go to patreon.com/CoinConcede to get perks like a thank you at the top of the show, bonus post-show content, early access to new episodes, and help support the show in the process. If you would like to support the show but cannot do so monetarily, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on your podcast feed of choice, as it always helps other people find the show. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Life and Ladder. How are things going for you two? Who wants to go first?
I must have seen The Matrix for a while, because I had one day, I think it was like Sunday or Monday, where I was playing Priest and just could not lose, which is, I mean, I play a lot of Priest. I know the class well. That not being able to lose is not a feeling that I am used to, especially with the Priest decks that I've had access to over the past couple of years. But like, I was just playing, I was in a zone for like a day where I was unbeatable. Like I literally, like I beat a rogue, I beat a shaman. Like they should have just given me legend right then. Like that was it. Like if you like, there should be an exception. If you can beat shaman as priest, just you're legend now. Congratulations, you did it. Like you've proven yourself. But they didn't. They haven't gotten that technology in yet. It must be in an upcoming patch, I guess. And obviously, as soon as I tried to do that the next day, everything went to hell. So I enjoyed that while I could, but it was. I think I said in our group chat that I felt like Icarus, like moments before, you know, everything fell apart. Like, oh yeah, this is great. Look how high I am. But I did switch to the Druid that we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about Merithra Druid today, and that's well, the first list. We'll talk about this in detail. The first list I played is supposedly the good list, and in my hands, it super is not. And then I switched to another list that's more like the original list before any of the new cards, and that went really well for me. I'm like 9-2 with that right now. I don't know if that's just my wings have not melted yet, or if I actually, you know, have figured something out, given that I'm playing with the quote unquote suboptimal list. I wouldn't say bad, because I don't think either list is bad.
No, they're not too different.
It's been doing fine. I mean, I think I am enjoying the deck. I think I needed it as a change of pace. It's making lemonade in this meta, I guess, is what I would say. I'm also, I think, closing in on the end of Trails into Reverie, so I'm looking forward to getting to the end of that arc and then moving on to the Trails, the Calvert arc and the Trail series. So I'll only have 3 games left to go before I'll be able to play any other JRPG ever. So so maybe it'll be like a year and a half instead of 2 years that I can try Expedition 33 again. But yeah.
I had been having, before today, not the greatest week, or the week before, really. I think a lot of it was just me not playing in a good headspace, because I definitely have been noticing myself making lots of misplays, and probably even more than I'm that I'm recognized, but, you know, being like, oh, that was dumb, you know. So my overall win rate was like 40% for the past 100 games. But today I also went 9-2 with Merithra Druid. And I think really clicked with this slightly different list of the deck and realized that one can play it. It's not an aggro deck, of course. I mean, we're running like half the deck as legendaries and costs 5 or more, but playing for tempo. to quote the name of a former Hearthstone podcast, definitely is a way that one can play the deck, depending on what you're facing and how your draw is. But even this morning when I first started it, I did have a game versus a priest. And I remembered Edel saying something about when she was playing Herald DK that the winning move for the Merithra Druid was they would just dream their Merithra and get to go again, right? So that if you could deal with one board, now you had to deal with two boards. So I waited to play, because it was a priest specifically and I knew they would heal up if I just tried to go for damage. I waited until I could dream my Merithra. And then I had so many decisions and dragons to look at when I played my Merithra that I forgot to dream it.
No.
No. Luckily, they had no mana left to heal themselves after they Medivhed the Merithra board. And I managed to get there with a little damage over the top. I can't remember quite with what. I think it might have been something with Bashana. And like the other Shaladra stuff. So I like managed to just get there. Mostly, I've not been playing like that. Mostly I've been playing more following my own instincts. More trading than I would do if I was playing Token Druid. We'll talk a lot more about that. I've been having more fun than I remembered having with the deck, and more fun than I've been having with other things mostly. Although Token Druid is also quite good. I will say, if you are a refugee from slower strategies, you really... Like I had a game today versus somebody who maybe that was their situation. I was on Merithra. They were on Token Druid. I had no business winning this game. They had 3 of the Shattered card, which is kind of too many. And like from the Token Druid's perspective, it is kind of too many. It is also a lot for me. But they kept like wanting to make sure they were going to get full value out of those. So like not playing more than one at a time, or like trading down to make sure that they got all their treants. Just go face. I cannot deal with a wide board. All right, so don't let me get enough mana to find ways to deal with a wide board. Actually, I ended up just killing them on 8. This actually was one where the new card, I did get lucky with the new card. I got a Life Bloom, and it got me a Draco Rex.
Oh, that'll help, yeah.
And a Taunt. That was my second Life Bloom. The first one got me Asphyxiodon. So...
Oh, that's pretty good too, yeah.
Yeah, and Bashana got me Flipper Friends that gave me a 6/6 Taunt. Unfortunately, you can't pick with that one. So sometimes you can... I thought I was going to lose anyway, even though they were trading too much. But because they were trading too much, I had enough time to actually get enough mana to potentially.
And then they went in and deleted the deck.
Yeah.
And posted to Reddit.
Yes. You do trade occasionally if it's going to like protect your board for a buff, because there isn't a lot of comeback mechanics. So especially if you're facing another aggro deck, like aggro versus aggro is the time when aggro trades the most, because you must keep board. So it's not like never trade, but in general, you got to have the aggro sense, and you don't actually necessarily want to like keep 2 Wildwood Circles. There is diminishing returns at a certain point. 1 is good. 2 is a little too many, because then you don't have a board to buff with them as easily. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, I booted up Hades 2, which I had played half an hour of a while ago, and then been like, I am bad at this game now because it's been too long since I played original Hades. And then I got distracted by other things. And then I booted it up again to kind of test the Steam app on our Apple TV.
Excuse me, what now? Excuse me?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
It is a thing. It's just streaming from your computer. It has to be running on your computer.
But still, that's still a thing. Okay.
That is a thing. Yes.
I was not aware that was a thing. Okay.
So you can have your computer open elsewhere in the house or near you, anywhere, as long as it's on the Wi-Fi, and then you can stream it and sit there on your couch with your controller. That worked pretty well once I gave it proper permissions.
Is the latency okay? It seems like that would be like a lag thing. That might be an issue.
I had one moment where it was slightly laggy. Otherwise, it was good. But it is important for something like Hades,
yeah,
where like it's very time based.
Yeah, that sounds like that would be really good for a turn-based JRPG like Trails in the Sky.
It does. And yeah, I mean, if you have an Apple TV, it's worth just trying out. But I am still bad at Hades because it's been years since I did that. So, but I was enjoying myself. So maybe once, well, the APs are over now, but the end of the semester rush has begun because since the classes at the school where I teach are self-paced, students can get behind. And then suddenly it all catches up with them at the end of the school year. So I have a couple students for whom that is the case. And also finals for my college students who I tutor. So once that's over with, then perhaps I will have more time to see if I can build up some Hades muscle memory again instead of just like ignominiously dying and then deciding to remap dash because this is crazy and then still ignominiously dying on the next game. And
yeah,
I was starting to get better.
Remapping dash is like trading as a token druid.
Well, it was not where it had been when I played Hades 1. So the little muscle memory I did have, it wasn't working. So I had to try to remember what it used to be when I played Hades 1 to try to at least match these things. I mean, I haven't played Hades with a controller really since my old roommate before my husband moved in with me, like 5 years ago.
Wait, what do you mean played with a controller? You were playing Hades with a keyboard and mouse?
Well, so my roommate had a Switch. We should probably cut some of this from the actual podcast.
No, this is important information. This is important that we need to. People need to hear this.
I did not have a Switch, so when she moved, I had no Hades, nor did I have my save file, right? Because it was all on her Switch. So I bought it for the PC, and then I was like, "This is terrible." Now, could I have just gotten a controller for my computer? Obviously, but I had already like won Hades 1 the 10 times through the story, blah, blah, blah. So, but Hades 2 has finally got me to be like, I need a controller. That and Expedition 33 got me to be like, I need an actual controller. So,
fair.
Still don't own a Switch.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Edel?
Yeah, I went to visit my grandmother. My brother was in town around for the week for like Mother's Day and visiting. He's got a new baby, so kind of allowing the fam to spend more time with her. I have not honestly played a ton of Hearthstone. I don't expect there to be much different for me to be casting for playoffs. I guess once I see what deck lists people have, I'll do some testing with those. But largely, I kind of am thinking things won't have changed much. I just don't find the game to my liking right now. Is what it is. Hoping that the next expansion does something exciting for me.
Yeah. I mean, not every expansion is to everybody's taste either. We've all had periods like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you don't love the game, but it's fun. It's very possible to love the game but not like the game at the moment. So,
I also just had higher hopes for Cataclysm, and it was uplifting, but not as much as I had wanted.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a 4-set meta, and the 4 sets are always kind of limited to some extent anyway.
Previously, I have enjoyed 4-set metas, though.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we expect that we'll probably have a balance window shortly, so we don't know whether they're going with that, but we were having a discussion before the show about, how there aren't a lot of, there are slower decks, like Merithra Druid, which we're about to talk about, although I just said I started playing it more proactively, and then that helped a lot in terms of my win rate.
I mean, you can turn everything into an aggro deck, and I can turn everything into a control deck, so that's nothing new, but yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be the explanations, I think. But there has definitely been a trend more towards, whether this is their design philosophy or not, we can't really say, but in the current meta, very board based, right? And not a lot of off-board control, I guess, traditional off-board control. I don't want to say that's the only thing that could be control, but was sort of like epitome of control. And also not like OTK, off-board combo type stuff. Both of those archetypes are very polarizing in that people do not like to face them, but they are also very popular because people do like to play them. Mm-hmm. So I think there was a time a while ago, like last year, when we were in the midst of the like absolute peak of armor with starships and everything else, and like unnerfed Ancient of Yore, and it was just ridiculous, and it was making me very annoyed as an aggro player. And I had this whole analogy that it was like a biological arms race, like you have with, small frogs that you're like, why is this thing so toxic it could kill a horse? And it's because the things that eat the frog have been evolving anti-venom. So it has to get more toxic, so the thing that eats it has to get more resistant, blah, blah, blah. And I thought that was kind of what they were doing with the OTK decks versus the armored, control decks at that time. Because you have this tension between, if you have off-board damage, especially OTK, that makes it really, that hard counters off-board control. But if you want to have both of them, you have to have like some way to solve it. Do you just have like only one really be good at a time? Do you try to have a bit of a rock, paper, scissors? Do you try to have this armor situation that they seem to have moved away from, that I'm actually kind of glad they moved away from that? Well, one way to solve it is just not really have either, right? And have the damage. There is some off-board damage. I don't necessarily disagree with having to piece together off-board damage, especially if it can be done over like 2 turns. But there's not a fast combo-y solitaire deck, and I know a lot of people listening to this are like, well, good. But, and I get that, but there are also a lot of people who love playing that. And there also isn't, there is sort of slower control, but it's mostly tier 3 or tier 4. So on the one hand, of the 3 of us, I'm the person who most enjoys the sort of board-based decks, but I also enjoyed it does make for a little bit less variety and like style of play, and I can see people who really like those other styles of decks being frustrated that they don't have those options. Like there are definitely different decks to play, and they don't all feel the same to play, but there's not this the epitomes of those archetypes being tier 2 or above, unless somebody can think of something that I'm forgetting. No, they could make everyone really mad and just bring back Protoss Mage, which is both.
I mean, that's not a even remote possibility. But no. The fact that was rotating out, but then also Arcane Artificer went. And so Mage just has no defensive tools.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for the best defense is a good offense, but not everybody likes to play that way, so...
Well, and that's not how they made the class set to be played.
Right. Right. You can't play it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can slam minions. It's probably correct in that deck, but also you're going to die. So...
Yeah. Well, and something like the Merithra Druid is slamming... I mean, the way that I was defending myself was by trying to slam minions. Or, find things that would play minions. Or, because right now, in a lot of decks, the best way to control is to have a board that you trade. That you either are going face with if you're in the beatdown position in the particular game, or that you're trading with if you're in the control position.
Yeah. But you know what the Druid has that Mage doesn't have? Taunt and Armor.
Yeah.
Which are kind of important things to the not dying part of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Anyhow.
Not to be too much of a downer, but this is just not my Hearthstone. Yeah.
But we've got a little bit of news. Then we are going to talk about Merithra Druid. So if you need something, it's a little bit of a change of pace. Not necessarily a tier 1 deck, but we always get a little bit antsy about talking about tier 1 decks that this close to when we expect a balance change. So we're, this seems like a safer deck that isn't really offending anybody. And if you're looking for a change of pace, it's something that 2 of us have had very good experiences with very different lists and very different approaches. So no matter what you're doing, you can kind of adapt it to you.
Yeah, it's a solid deck that I've been enjoying, which I did not expect to be enjoying it. And it has some new cards, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. But first, some news.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop.
So the main bit of news that we have this week is that we had a fairly significant hotfix on Monday, I believe. May 11th. Yeah, May 11th was Monday. There were a number of fixes, a bunch of Battlegrounds fixes as one would expect, but also a bunch of constructed fixes for some fairly significant bugs that were still there. The main headliner is that they fixed the animal companions upgrading beyond 10 bug for Hunter. So upgrading animal companions beyond 10 no longer displays incorrectly or resets back to 1. So you don't lose a companion when you go above 10. You don't have one of them suddenly become a twilight egg or whatever. You get to keep all of your 3, which has led to more people running Crazed Alchemist now that you can guarantee yourself a Tortola and just dome people for 28 or whatever it's left at by the time that it comes out. So, and if you get rid of that one, they just make another one. So eventually one of them will be at high health and will kill you. So that is a thing that is a little bit more possible, because sometimes with the old bug, it would just replace the Tortola with a card back and then you would be sad. So that is not happening anymore. Convalescence, which is the Paladin card that summons 2/1/1 silver hand recruits and gives them Divine Shield, no longer creates silver hand recruits with Divine Shield that can't be silenced. I don't know where they were finding silence other than like Librarian, but
Wild.
I guess Wild. Yeah, I mean, are they playing Dude Paladin in Wild? I don't know. But whatever. Anyway, that's not a thing that can happen anymore. And then there's a couple of bug fixes that are actually kind of nerfs in a way. Tyranda's effect now counts only the Dragon Soul essence you actually played instead of treating adjacent essences as a single card. So Tyranda says the next 3 spells you cast 3 times. Is it twice or 3 times? I forget because I haven't played Tyranda in a hot minute.
The next 3 spells cast twice.
Cast twice. So the Dragon Soul is the one that splits into 6 copies, or 6 different cards, and then whenever you cast it, it casts the adjacent Dragon Souls also. So Tyranda was treating them all as one card, so it was playing all of the adjacent ones repeatedly. Now it is only going to play the one that you actually cast from hand twice. That is probably the correct thing to do, but also a significant downgrade if you are playing that kind of a deck.
I was trying to do the Dragon Soul and Priest, and don't recommend it. Yeah.
The only place I've seen it is in Rogue, because of course Rogue can afford to run a 35 card deck where the extra 5 cards all cost 6. Of course Rogue can.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it anywhere else.
It is nice when you get them next to each other, but you find yourself doing like suboptimal things to get them next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need that like Demon Hunter card that shuffles your hand or something. But
I mean, I think in general you need like a lot of draw. I messed around with a Quest Warrior that ran it with just, a ton of draw. And then, with the refresh, you can add a little bit more to a Time Warp turn, or have that, 8 damage burst, or have an additional, deal 3 damage AoE. It does have built in, it's expensive, but it has draw 3 spells, right? It was kind of fun and different, but
the final bug fix is probably the most significant one, which is that the Arcanomicon no longer triggers Discover-related effects like Rangari Scout, or the Origin Stone. Rangari Scout is whatever. That's going to be like a massive burgle type thing. But the Origin Stone is the mage quest reward.
That's wild.
Wild is wild. But in Standard, it was actually a thing that I had tested a little bit playing the ley lines in Quest Mage. And what it was doing was when you were playing the Arcanomicon, it was treating the choose which upgrade to take as a discover and applying all of them, both the one you picked and the ones you didn't, which obviously makes that a lot better. It still wasn't good because you're now playing Quest Mage and you're playing cards that don't discover in the Quest Mage, in the hopes that those are going to work for you. So it wasn't good, but it was a thing that you could do and you no longer can. So that is actually, in that use case, making Arcanomicon worse. So do be aware of that. If that was something you were trying in Quest Mage, you can safely either cut the quest or cut the ley lines, probably cut the ley lines. And in Arena, Treasure Hunter Eudora now properly completes her side quest and awards the reward in Arena. I would presume that means that she has been unbanned in Arena, because she was banned for a little while there, if memory serves. And Discover pools will once again include wild cards as intended. It sounds like they were only, and Edel, you probably know this better than we would, but it sounds like the Discover pools were only including standard cards, even though the pool is curated and consists of cards across a variety of sets.
That would explain why there were so many Herald cards being discovered.
Yeah, that would make sense. So
Yeah.
Like just having a really high density.
Yep.
I'm sure that double Herald is still good, but
Yeah, but like the amount of times you could discover an Ixia or whatever was high.
Yeah. So that's it. So you are clear to play Animal Companion Hunter. I mean, clearly a lot of people are. It's the most popular deck across all rank buckets. So it's like 10% of the meta, give or take. It's not impressive, but it's popular. So you can do that now. And and you can not play Quest Leyline Mage, which you shouldn't have been doing before, but now you really shouldn't do it. So. And also, just your reminder, if you are listening to this on the day that it releases, or you happen to be watching us live, remember that spring playoffs are this Sunday, which is May 17th, starting at the crack of dawn. Is that is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
But it should be going most of the day, so do make sure to tune in and make sure that you're lending your views to the algorithm, as it were. And that is it for news. So let's talk about Druid fast and slow.
all right. So we have in the show notes 2 lists for Merithra Druid. One of them that is much more similar to what people have been playing before the class sets. The other is the Vicious Syndicate list from today, which is only 1 card off from what I was playing today, and that's probably an improvement because what I was playing today had a Restaurant Viper in it. Someone was really hurt by Quest Mage, probably, is what that is, and or Priest. VS actually you can have Restaurant Viper in here as a tech card if you want, which must mean it's not performing as terribly as I would think, because Zako generally hates tech cards. But he had suggested Heartroot Stones instead, which is the new 3 armor draw card. If you didn't play a minion last turn, do it again card. So that is probably correct. So I put that list in instead of the one that I was playing. I guess we can talk about the core of the deck, and then we'll look at differences. I mean, probably by now, most people have at least run into Merithra Druid, if not played it. But you have essentially... Well, okay. Yeah, how would we basically describe this deck? I think the part of my issue here is that Wicked and I have been fundamentally approaching it differently.
Yeah. I mean, it's a ramp deck if ramp was fair.
This is...
Right?
You know what this is? This is Druid's version of good Shaman, right? Like, this is good Druid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
which
So it's got...
has always meant play for tempo, but
it can definitely go long, right? I mean, we have Merithra herself, who, for anyone who doesn't remember, is the 8 mana dragon. If you have played 25 worth of mana while holding her, not this game, while holding her, then you fill your hand with random dragons. Actually, you always fill your hand with random dragons. If you've played 25 mana worth of cards while holding her, then they cost 1. Yeah. So you can, in a pinch, play her without them costing 1. But in general, of course, you were trying to get them.
I just did that right before the show and won that game because I had drawn her. I top decked her with like nothing left in hand, and I'm like, well, I guess we're doing this because there's nothing else for me to do. And I ended up winning that game because even just like getting a whole hand of random dragons with, I mean, you're running Ysera, so you have plenty of mana, and you're running ramp to get you to the point where you can play them. And like there are some cheap dragons that you'll roll. Like they're not all 9 and 10 mana. A lot of them are, but not all of them. So there's sometimes some cheap dragons that you can play, and you can get a decent board even if you're having to pay full price. You would rather not. You would rather do the extreme couponing that the Battle Cry affords you. But if you have to pay full retail price, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, certainly don't sit there with nothing else that you're doing just because you don't want to play Merithra non-active. Like, there are plenty of dragons that you can play when you get her. In fact, it's a bit annoying when you get those cheap ones and they all cost 1, and then your whole hand is cheap dragons that cost 1. But that doesn't happen too often, and it's still a lot of value. So yeah, we have a combination of, we have that and Shaladrisil, but we also have Wickerfang following the this is just a good card, a Mirdrasil, Xavius, Elise, because we might as well. We fit Elise's. Like, nothing is in here only because of Elise, and maybe Ysera herself, but she's in for other reasons too. Like, basically, nothing's in here only because of Elise. And I've actually been finding the plus attack to your board can be a nice surprise way to win, because late in the game with Merithra, or just earlier in the game with, like, Broodwatcher or Wickerfang, you can just get a wide board and then suddenly hit them for quite a bit with it. Discover a spell, generally good, right? You have your defensive options with the Raptors, of course. But I was finding that extra attack to be helpful multiple times today. Yeah.
You also can take the 10 mana one more than you might have been able to in the past, just because, like, I mean, you have to kind of judge what the game is going to need, but I found myself taking 10 mana locations more than I would have previously, just because, like, you're going to get there. It's just a matter of, like, when do you need the location? How's it going to fit into your curve? Normally that's like, well, just take 5 more often than not. This is a legitimate decision. Do you take 5 or 10 with this deck? I'd very rarely take 1 because I'm looking for haymakers a lot of the time. And again, this might be a play philosophy thing, but I'm looking for haymakers at value. So I'm usually not looking for 1, but 5 or 10 are both valid options depending on, like, what time you get this in the game and what the rest of your curve leading up to, like, 10 mana looks like.
I was mostly picking 5. I think you're right that this is something where my just not even considering 10 actually no longer applies, because sometimes you are sitting there with more than 10 mana. But I picked 1 in at least one game today because the +1 attack to my board was lethal.
Okay, yeah.
Or, like, set up for it, right? Mostly I was taking 5 because I had enough mana anyway that I might as well have that extra value. But sometimes, or if that extra +1 attack in Raptor is going to help you keep the board early, you're going to float a mana anyway, so you might as well try to have that, and it's not like a super grindy, like, priest matchup or something. It depends on what you're facing. So we have our early game wave shaping. Wave shaping, surprisingly, is, like, not bad to keep in the mull. Usually you don't have, like, discover effects in the mull because if you might as well trade them away and not have to pay 1 mana. But we don't have a lot of things to do on 1. And it also will sort of tell you what you're not getting in this game and, like, put things you don't want to draw on the bottom for whatever matchup you're in. So it's actually not bad to have wave shaping early. Acceleration Aura, Fellwood Treant, Horn of Plenty, Press the Advantage. Press the Advantage perhaps surprisingly, has stayed in the deck. Wicked is not necessarily a fan of this, but the problem I used to have with this deck, with the older version personally, was that I was always running out of cards. So having more draw with Heartroot Stones and Press the Advantage is helpful. And sometimes the Press the Advantage, deal 1 damage, give your hero +1 attack is helpful versus aggro. Like,
yeah, against Paladin specifically.
Yeah.
Against Paladin, against 1-drop Hunter, they have things with 1 health. The token Druid sometimes has things, you can kill something with 2 health or 2 things with 1 health.
Yeah. Being able to take out the front half of a Twilight Egg early is sometimes relevant.
So, like, there are reasons to have that. And it's a thing that you can do on 2. We have Broodwatcher, which is the 4-mana 4/5 dragon that gets you 2 3/3 whelps with taunt that are summoned instead of gone to hand if you've spent 8 mana while holding this. That can be a stabilizer. I was surprised. So the version that Wicked is playing has more of what we were doing before to work versus aggro, and that is Twilight Time Reaver and Underking. I didn't even quite realize, looking at the list that I picked up, that it did not have Underking or Twilight Time Reaver in it.
Yeah, I didn't either until I was like, why am I losing? And it was because Twilight, not Twilight Time Reaver, but Underking wasn't in it. And I'm like, oh, let me switch to a list that has Underking. Oh, this is so much better. But again, that's more my style. Twilight Time Reaver is very whatever. I actually could see a world in which I dropped a Twilight Time Reaver for Life Bloom. I could see that. Because sometimes the Twilight Time Reaver is just actively bad. Because it's very good if your opponent is the only one with minions. If you are the only one with minions, or if it's like a fairly even board, then it's actively bad because you're nerfing all your own minions on top of whatever you're doing to them. So like in the scenario where it's like, oh, well, somebody filled up their board. You have a paladin that's, filled up their board with a bunch of things that you don't have Nosdormu on it, and they're all huge. Okay, let me just Twilight Time Reaver, and now you're stuck with a bunch of 1-attack minions that you're going to have to trade off before you get to do anything. Then it's great. That scenario does not happen enough to justify the Twilight Time Reaver being there, and sometimes it's just really a dead draw. So that's the one card that I could see maybe swapping it out for something like a Life Bloom, and that might be an upgrade.
The Time Reaver can be a lifeline against, I don't know, certain aggressive decks where like if you get them to commit their big buffs and then you just set everything's attack to 1. Right. So particularly against like Aura Paladin, right? You survive maybe a couple turns of Gelbin and then you're just like, okay, everything's 1 attack now.
Yeah, I think that is where it shines. I think it's more possible in some ways to play, like, we have other things that we can be doing, and I was always trying to keep a board as much as possible, so I didn't miss the Twilight Time Reaver. The Life Bloom is a little bit variable, but it was mostly working pretty well for me. It's also something that you can sometimes discover. So Life Bloom is the new class set card, a 9-mana nature spell, restore 8 health to all friendly characters, summon 2 random 8-cost minions. If you've been playing Companion Hunter, you know that the 8-cost minions are largely bangers. There's quite a few taunts in there. There's Draco Rex. There are things that can save you. There's the 13/13 Rush. Like, I haven't done the math on this necessarily. I'm going to see just like 8 drops in general. Like the chances that you're going to get something that will be helpful for you on board right now is pretty high. You could get an Illidari Inquisitor, Perennial Serpent. Magma Hound has Rush.
There are 34 8 drops.
Atlasaurus has Rush. We can't get the Colossals, right, because we're summoning them.
Yeah, so there's slightly fewer than that, right? So it's like, I mean, like some of the Battlecry minions are a little bit, feels bad, but like Archwitch Willow is probably the lowest roll. That's like a 5/5.
The lowest roll is Clocksworth. He's a 3/3.
Oh, yeah, he's a 3/3. Yeah, I forgot about him. But yeah.
But there's a lot of Taunt and Rush, and you do get 2 rolls.
Right? You can get a Grom, and then you could like press the advantage your Grom and hit them for 12 unexpectedly if you're in living in magical Christmas land, right?
And it is some healing for you. So sometimes it can be like, all right, well, I'm not necessarily just playing this as a Hail Mary, right? I am going to have enough healing from this. Because we have some ramp, sometimes you're not necessarily waiting until turn 9 to do this.
Yeah.
It's nice when you get it for 7 or, somehow discounted.
Your minions have big butts, right? So like you're not just healing your face, you're also healing your minions, which sometimes can be relevant to get an extra attack out of them.
Like Wicker Fang, for example. I had a game today where I was facing Unholy DK. So they're very aggro.
Oh.
I was just kind of doing setup a little bit because that was the hand that I had. But on 4, I played Xavius, and I got the +4/+5 stat Wicker Fang. So I was like, sure, that sounds good. Put that on top of my deck. They played an Whelp of the Infinite and buffed its attack. Not that really mattered.
Is Infinite the life? Is that the lifesteal one or the
poison?
No, the poison one.
Okay.
I had 2 ebb and flows in hand that were not active. I played both of them and innervated a hero power to kill the whelp. And they went, wow. And I waited and then played the Wicker Fang and went, wow. And then won the game. So Wicker Fang is a really good card.
Yeah. Board in the box.
Board in the box.
Yeah.
You want to be spending your mana. You want to be spending refreshes to be able to get like Broodwatcher active as soon as possible, and just getting things on the board. Or I mean, if they're aggro, then you are still in the control position, right? Like you're usually not going to outboard an aggro. I did in one case today, but generally that's not what you're doing. But you're sort of fighting their board with small things, getting a little bit of ramp, and then you can have a big swing sometimes with like Wicker Fang or just get some things in the way with Broodwatcher. Certainly if you're facing a lot of aggro, I can definitely see switching in an Underking to be something helpful, but it is stats-wise less good than you might think. So I would say it's worth giving it a try to potentially try things like Life Bloom or Bashana and just see what you think. Yeah. And then if you're like, Magesa, you have ruined my MMR, you can put the Underkings back.
I just look at them as like a 7 mana removal spell, right? That gives me 12 armor eventually. Like that's the way that I look at it, which is like if you had a spell that said deal 7 damage or deal 6 damage, gain 6 armor, and then on your next turn gain 6 more armor, you probably play that. So that's where the way that I'm looking at Underking. I'm not looking at it as like a minion for, I mean, yeah, you can go face with it occasionally, but I'm looking at it as like a 7 mana removal spell, which again is why I'm probably more interested in it than you are, because the way I've been playing it has been more, let me just get board control eventually and then things will work out. Right. Whereas I'm not trying to don't get me wrong. There are times where I will ramp hard into a Wicker Fang and see if it sticks. It very rarely does, but see if it sticks. At least, even if it doesn't stick, the opponent still is forced to deal with it. It disrupts their turn and it forces them to put sometimes quite a bit of removal into it to make sure that it's not a problem. So I will tempo out a Wicker Fang as early as I can usually. But I'm much more interested in like, I'm doing a lot more trading. I'm trying to control the board because like once I get board control, I'm not letting go of it. And then things will become inevitable. I'm not generally trying to push the issue early because I find that, I mean, that also might be a function of the list that I'm playing. But I find that I'm going to fall behind and I kind of need to trade a lot to catch up anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an aggro deck. I'm looking at some of the replays that I have to try to see if I can figure out what I was doing here. Like here the Life Bloom also helps you build a threatening board. Bashana sometimes will get you things that's like wards of earth and things that summon. A lot of those nature spells also just affect the board. And if you can get somebody who their goal is to go face, feel like they have to trade with you, then you have won. Yeah. Right? Oh, right. This was the Egg Warrior that I just dreamed them twice. that's probably not what is going to be what most people are facing very often.
Yeah. I did have Vishana give me a Typhoon once. That was pretty fun. It gave me a Typhoon, a deadly poison, and like one other like 1 mana spell. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm Typhooning this board. And trade off all my stuff. I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna get a couple things into my library, and you're gonna get a couple into yours, and let's neutralize this whole thing. But
I guess I'm trying to ramp, and then when I do have things on the board, use my board as my defensive strategy and try to get them to trade with it. And then we have a lot of value late and looking for what's the earliest lethal I can have with something like Shaladrosel. Shaladrosel is really a good card in this. If you're running Life Bloom, it is another thing that can corrupt the Shaladrosel, so that can be worth thinking about, but you don't have to corrupt the Shaladrosel necessarily in order for it to be good, unless there's like, oh, well, I can see that I should just play the Life Bloom first type of situation. So you definitely, like, it's better if it is corrupted, but it's not better to wait just so that you can corrupt it, if that makes sense. Merithra is a lot of value. Bashana is actually a lot of value. So we have a lot that we can do if we can just kind of like ramp a little bit into it. And you have to think about with things like Xavius or what you're taking from Horn of Plenty and what you're taking from Wave Shaping, not only who is my opponent, but what's going on in this exact game. If I'm looking at Wave Shaping and it's showing me like Shaladrosel, Merithra, and what was it that I had today? It was like Ebb and Flow, Shaladrosel, and Merithra. And it's like, okay, we really need to know what kind of game we're in here, right? Like on turn 1.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the Wave Shaping gives you a perfect next play, then it's okay to put the big haymakers on the bottom, especially if they're a minion. You might be able to get it with Xavius. Otherwise, we do ramp faster than it seems sometimes, so taking Shaladrosel could be okay. It just it depends on whether they're liable to kill you and also whether the other thing you did slots really well into what you're playing right now or not.
Yeah. I mean, it is important to think about, like with Wave Shaping, not just what do I need right now, but what am I not going to need. There are some times when it's correct to take a card that's not good for the immediate scenario, but is something that you are, like if you're against a priest and it offers you like a Fyrakk or a Shaladrosel or something, you're probably taking that because you know that game is going to go long. Over like, I don't know, like a press the advantage for turn 2, right?
Yeah. It's really, if you're facing a slower deck, then you should go for the late game card. Yeah. Often. If you're facing a faster deck, then often it's incorrect to do that unless you already have a hand that's going to work well for now to stave off the aggression. So we don't have a lot of any AoE except for Shaladrosel in the late game. So that was another reason why I was like, okay, if we can have things on board, if we can deal with each little minion as it comes out, because if the aggro deck gets really wide, you have to like summon some taunts or hope that they trade with you, or like randomly get a Draco Rex or work your way up to Shaladrosel.
Like Flipper Friends off of Horn of Plenty can sometimes be like an AoE at home in a way, just because it will take out a few things, but it also makes that really sad otter sound every time that one of them dies. So do be prepared for that.
Yeah. And do note that if that's in Bashana, you don't get to choose which one it casts because it's not you casting it.
Yeah, Horn of Plenty, I almost feel like in quite aggressive matchups feels like something I'm interested in keeping, just because you might need that lifeline of like pulling something that's not normally in your deck against a Flight Paladin or something.
Yeah, like Horn of Plenty on 2 into Flipper Friends on 3 is really strong against an aggressive deck because it just really neutralizes that early push and then buys you the time to be able to start getting your ramp going and then be able to start setting up into the mid game. Well, into the later game, because you basically skip the mid game a lot of the time. But or it's giving you enough mana spent to maybe be able to turn your Broodwatcher on by turn 5, which is going to help a lot against an aggressive deck as well. So it's a lot. The important thing is also thinking about like what cards do I have in my hand that care about me spending mana. Like there are often times that I will like go like hero power into coin hero power Felward Treant on 3 just to it's worth it to me to just pay the coin and hero power just to get the Felward Treant online and get it there. Like sometimes like you'll have the Darkscale Broodmother that'll count for 3 mana spent to be able to help the Broodwatcher or a Merithra along. So it's important to think about how you're spending your mana. And I don't know that you necessarily go out of your way to not do those things if you don't say have a Merithra or a Broodwatcher in hand, but this is a deck where it's really, really important to draw first. Because sometimes, and I've made this mistake today, where like I would play a whole bunch of things, then I draw later, and then, oh yeah, well, I just wasted 7 mana I could have put towards Merithra, or, you know, most of a Broodwatcher activation, because I drew it off the draw that was at the end. So you really do want to make sure that you're drawing first and having good habits there, because it will punish you if you're drawing last.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, friends don't let friends tap last. Friends don't let friends wave shaping last. So yeah, take a second and think about how much mana you have. Remember that something like the Felwood Treant, you can think essentially of it as costing 1, right? Think about how much you might be refreshing off of a Myrddrasil if you have that. In general, what you're mulling for is the ideal stuff is the ramp, because for all I've been saying, like, oh, I'm trying to have a board and stuff, we don't have like 1-drops and 2-drops except for the Felwood Treant, which you're not playing on 2. I'm not playing minions on 1 and 2. I'm looking for things on like Horn of Plenty that are going to summon me things, or I'm like pressing the advantage to keep their board a little slower while I ideally ramp into 4, and then I can like play a 4-drop. Or I can start playing 6-drop, you know, Wicker Fang earlier, stuff like that. Like this is not an aggro snowball curve. We're trying to get the ramp. Don't coin the acceleration aura unless, again, like you have something in hand and that's going to make your mana curve work really well. Like if you coin the acceleration aura so that you can then play the Broodmother, and then that'll give you the Treant, and then you can wave, like, you know, if you have like a nice hand for that, coin it, but otherwise don't coin acceleration aura generally. Because
it's not even always right to play it on 2, depending on what your hand looks like. Like you really still need to think about, what am I ramping into? And is this going to be helpful now or later? Sometimes it's correct to hold on to it for a turn or 2 to be able to help, like get a Wicker Fang out earlier, get a Narrowlex Fyrakk turn or a Narrowlex Ysera turn out a little bit sooner, rather than just trying to get to like 4 where you're, I don't know, just going to play Elise or not play anything, right? You'd have the mana to be able to just get a Felwood Treant out. But it's important to still think of that and think about what you're ramping into, and not just slam a acceleration aura just because you happen to have it in play and it costs 2 and you have two mana crystals available.
Yes, and same with coins and innervates. Again, even though I'm playing this a little more aggressively, I think we're Druid. We're getting bigger things first. That's our tempo. Is that we have the bigger things first. So yeah, the coin is a opportunity cost if you throw it out on something that's not that important, especially if then you're just going to float a mana next turn or something, or you're going to die because you didn't get out your survivability. So yeah. It does almost like Overload in Shaman makes you think ahead to your mana. It makes sure you have good habits for thinking ahead to your mana.
I will say on the mulligans, this is probably not correct, but it's been working for me. I have been keeping a Myrddrasil almost every time, and I have not yet been punished for it. I think that the card draw, like the earlier that you have a Myrddrasil, the better in general, just because the card draw is so significant by the time that you get that 3rd press. So I've been keeping it, and generally it's been fine. It's kind of, even against an aggressive deck, generally it's been okay if I do that, because it does give you a little bit of armor and it gives you a little bit more mana to be able to do things, and it gives you board presence. Again, it's not much on the first activation, but it's still something. And then the second and third ones are a big deal in terms of like how much you're going to have access to in terms of resources.
The aggregated archetype card stats do suggest that keeping a Mirithra is actually potentially correct.
Well, deck tracker keeps telling me I'm an idiot. So, so I don't know, but it's worked out for me. So
it's definitely got a lower keep rate than like Wave Shaping, Fellwood Treant, and Acceleration Aura. But at least according to HS Guru, Mirithra and Elise are not bad keeps. It does depend maybe on, like, if you had ramp into a Mirithra, I would definitely keep that. Because it is true that, like, this is a deck that can gas out, although I haven't had that issue since I've been playing the newer version. But it is a deck that can gas out, so having that draw is helpful.
Yeah. It's funny that you keep saying that you're running out of cards, because my problem has been like getting cards out of my hand to have room for dragons from Merithra. Like, that's been my problem more often than not, is that I've just got too much stuff in my hand and it's awkward to get rid of. So I guess maybe that's probably also a playstyle thing, because I'm greeting the hell out of Merithra when I play it. And I'm looking to get like minimum 6 dragons usually, which is probably incorrect, but I'm looking, like, if I'm playing it for just like a couple of dragons, like some of the low rolls are so low that I feel like I need to get at least 6 to have a couple that are going to be worth playing, which maybe is I have no math or no stats behind that. That's just gut instinct, that I feel like I need like 6 is the sweet spot where I feel like I'm going to feel okay playing Merithra, and if I have less than that, then it's not really worth.
If you need if you're in a game and you're like, I need value off Merithra, then I do think that's true, that you need more room in your hand. And I've sometimes been waiting to play her and prioritizing like Shaladrisil and things. I think if I keep a Mirithra and I get a Mirithra early, then I can fill up on my hand space, and otherwise I don't, generally. Yeah. That can be something to think ahead about if you are trying to really have like a big Merithra turn as soon as possible. Once you get... Also, if you can ramp a lot, then you just have so much mana. You can just play a bunch of things in your hand. Yeah,
but sometimes the things make more things, right? So it doesn't always work out as the way that you would like it to. But yeah, because like even then, like Ysera still costs 9, like Fyrakk still costs 10. Fyrakk often puts more stuff in your hand too.
Mm-hmm.
I've not been playing Fyrakk very often.
Oh, I've been playing Fyrakk a lot. It's not nearly as consistent as it used to be, but it can get there quite a bit. And I mean, even like Bashana also is putting 3, like, they're cheap, but they're not always convenient to play, right? Like sometimes it's like Oaken Summons, but I really don't want to pull Elise out of my deck yet. And that's like, well, do I just pull Elise out of my deck and just bite the bullet, or do I hold this in my hand, but now it's using up room in my hand? It's like those types of things that sometimes are like scrapes that you get into.
Yeah. Edel does not believe in Bashana, I don't think. I mean, yeah. I put her in her also just because she's the new card and she does fun things sometimes. It's hard to, I mean, you can get like 3 cards that you don't particularly need, but I've rarely had like, oh, all of these are duds, She is 7 mana.
Almost every single time I get the stupid spell that summons 2 treants and buffs them for every treant that's died. Almost every single time I play Ushana. It does not matter. And it's like, I don't want this. I want something that does anything other than this. I don't want 2 treants. I have board space issues already. This isn't helpful. I had the first time I played it, this is why I'm biased, right? Because the first time that I played it, I got 2 Oaken Summons in that spell, and that was what I got. I'm like, this is terrible. What am I doing with my life? Like, this could be anything else. This could be a boat. Like, why am I playing this card in my deck?
Well,
it's gotten better since then, but it's like, that was a bad first impression to leave.
Yeah, she is something that you kind of need to either play when desperate or ahead, right? Because she is very variable.
Yeah.
In what she's going to give you. So I could definitely see potentially cutting her for maybe Under King or something like that. But I'm enjoying playing her, and she's felt better than I expected her to, at least, because I was not super high on that card when we originally looked at her. But I think I have often gotten something, that's useful, and sometimes 3 things that are useful. So, and it's more little treants on my board. So, at a point in the game where hopefully I have a lot of mana. At that point, I probably should just be playing Token Druid. I understand. I can see the smile on Edel's face. Well, I think it's a deck that can reward multiple ways of playing it. I can put in some replays. Hopefully this continues to do well for me and I don't come in next week being like, well.
Yeah.
But it is a deck that's overall, it's not tier 1, but it is just solid. Right now, Diamond through Legend on HS Guru, it has a 54.2% win rate. Let's see about on HS Replay. HS Replay has it at about 50. So, but plays a little bit differently, I would say, than some of the other things in the meta, where you can have your big dragon value turns, but you also can get to that quickly and not just be sitting waiting around. And so having some more proactive plays, even though you're ramping into the proactive plays, if that makes sense. So,
yeah.
But if you want to just like really win with Druid, play Token Druid and hit their face. You can still win well with both of these decks. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a deck that feels like it has a puncher's chance in any matchup, right? Which is kind of just what you're looking for, where it doesn't feel like it has any really horrible matchups. It doesn't feel like it has any great matchups, but it feels like it will reward you for playing well in any given matchup, which is a good deck to have in your repertoire. So,
yeah, it looks like its worst matchups are like Shaman, but it's not terrible. Okay, it does not like Aggro Druid. I did look. that is our worst matchup.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
I lucked out that Aggro Druid person didn't really quite know how to play the matchup. And it's pretty bad into Herald Shaman as well.
Yeah, it doesn't like Paladin either. Aura Paladin is like Aura Paladin's also a badish matchup. That was one of my losses today was Aura Paladin, but that's mainly because they got like Toreth into Nozdormu, and then I just conceded. So
we are good into Dragon Warrior and Spell Demon Hunter. So if we see, the VS report today was essentially advocating for people to play more Spell Demon Hunter to counter all the aggro that's countering all the Companion Hunter.
Yeah.
So if you want to be the 4th level of counter to all the Spell Demon Hunters, Merithra Druid counters Spell Demon Hunter pretty well.
And that's mainly because Spell Demon Hunter is really good at doing 30 damage and very bad at doing 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That tracks.
We're even into Imbue Rogue, Quest Priest, beat Quest Mage quite handily, beat Leyline Mage very handily, but so does everyone. Fine into Egg Warrior, fine into Face Hunter, good into Herald Warrior. Interestingly, better into Dragon Warrior than Herald Warrior, but only barely. That could just be
hey,
Leyline
Mage beats Rafam Warlock and Control Priest, okay?
Okay, if you really want to lose with Druid, shout out to Fizzy in the chat. I'm sorry, Wicked. I am going to tell people that this exists. If they've listened this, I've waited till the end of the podcast where people may have dropped off, right? So we have the dedicated people. No Hands Gamer has been playing. I don't know if he made this up or if he got it from somewhere, but he is the one who has first streamed this particular deck. This particular list. Hostage Druid. You can gain apparently like thousands of armor in this deck. So the idea is, so we have Underking and Moarg Forge Fiend. 2 Underkings, 1 Moarg Forge Fiend. We have Endbringer Umbra and Chronolode Deus to replay all of those death rattles to gain a bunch of armor. For people who are not aware, when you have Deus out, when you Umbra, it doubles the death rattles that she triggers. Then it doubles her battle cry. So everything happens 4 times. So that can really add up quite a bit. Now, you might be saying, okay, but we can only do that once, even with Ysera, which, of course, we are running Ysera in this. That is true, but there is a Grove Shaper in this deck. Grove Shaper says, after you cast a nature spell, summon a 2/2 Treant with Death Rattle, get a copy of that spell. What I didn't quite realize is that that still goes into Umbra. So, you play Shaladrisil, then you play Grove Shaper, then you play Dream on anything, the Grove Shaper herself, probably.
No, you don't really want her after.
She's done her job. Yeah, she's
Right.
not.
Like,
you play Dream on like Twilight Time Reaver or something.
Because like you cannot get more than 2. Like if you want to make sure you're gaining the maximum armor, then you can't get more than 2 of these nature spell Death Rattle Treants, because then it's too many Death Rattles and it creates uncertainty. So you're fine with just going for Dream, maybe one other nature spell in a Death Rattle, like, I don't know, an Ebb and Flow or something, but probably not.
The deal 5 from Shaladrisil is also nature. Importantly, not if you corrupt Shaladrisil. If you corrupt Shaladrisil, all of the spells become shadow, but if they're uncorrupted, they're all nature. So you could also get the like deal 5 to everything, which you're gaining a bunch of armor and they're not.
Sure.
And it happens 4 times. So once those Treants with the Dream and possibly something else die, Horn of Plenty would be fine, Press Advantage would be fine, whatever. Once those die, they go into your Umbra. So every time that you Deos an Umbra, you get a couple Dreams, at least. So you can bring Umbra and Deos back into your hand so that you can do this every single turn until your opponent leaves. Apparently, this is different than playing Hostage Mage in Wild, because in Wild they know Hostage Mage and they leave. But in Standard, no one knows what you're doing. So instead, they just rope you in Rage, apparently. Or at least this happened in at least one game. So, as Wicked was saying, don't do that. They're not trapped in there with you. You're trapped in there with them. They're fine. They are happy to sit there and wait. If they got this going, you lost.
They're watching Letterkenny on a second screen and just waiting for the turn to pass. Like, they don't care what's happening. They've signed up for this.
Now, to be clear, this has a sub 40% win rate. It is 14.9% into Shaman.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure the games are all 30 minutes apiece.
Well, no, because if you lose to aggro, you
just
like
lose.
The games that you lose, you just get rocked, right? Like you get rolled over by, Paladin with Flight, or Shaman just playing Flame Tongue Totems that you can't clear. Like, it's
I mean, it even loses hard to Warlock. It beats Priest and Leyline Mage.
Yay.
So, maybe Quest Mage too. Hard to tell in there, because this is just on H's Guru's deck thing, which doesn't separate by archetype for a single deck. So, if you want to punish yourself and everyone else with this deck, the list is in the show notes. If you just want to cackle while someone else does that, I'm sure you can go find it on No Hands stream from today or yesterday. I'm not sure which day he was playing this.
and like, look, I'm willing to bet that if you figure that out and get good at it, that you and your meta does not see, paladins and aggro druids and shamans, and then like maybe you can beat those hunters and death knights, a good amount of the time, and take your wins against mage and priest. But like, you're playing this for the novelty.
I mean, I guess if the companion hunter is like the most popular deck in the meta, that's going to give you plenty of time to set up your combo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. No Hands Gamer is positive with this deck, and it seems to be the thing he has played most in the past couple of days. He's 48-41 with it, according to Streamer Decks on HS Guru.
That must have been like 16 streams for him to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. But also, he's No Hands Gamer, so,
Mileage may vary.
Your mileage may vary, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I apologize if anyone now runs into this. Blame No Hands and not me.
If you were sorry, you'd change your behavior. So I don't know how much I believe that.
All right. Well.
Yeah, that's going to do it for the show. So we have many folks who'd like to thank. Check out our thanks section on the website at Concede.com. You can also find our contact info, our show notes, and our Patreon information. You can monetarily support our show at patreon.com/CoinConcede. Join us every week live by following us on Twitch at twitch.coinconcede.com. Join our community chats in our Discord at discord.coinconcede.com. Write into our email at coinconcede@gmail.com. Follow us on Blue Sky at CoinConcede. Subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/@coinconcede. And if you'd like some CC swag, head over to our shop with the link in the show notes. So, CoinConcedes.
The moment when we were all thinking.
Well, I'm going to coin concede to Advil because I had to. My daughter moved out of her dorm room last Sunday. Her dorm room is on the 4th floor of a walk-up. And we brought the minivan, took out all but 3 seats, and I had to use all of my Tetris skills to fill up every inch of that minivan, and all of that had to come down from the 4th floor. So I am just now not feeling it today. And Advil and the hot dog place in town were both what got me through that. So shout out to them too, I suppose.
Well, that's better than what happened with my mom. So my brother just bought a condo, and so this is all very exciting. And my mom loves projects. She is, and my husband does not so much love how much she loves projects. So she hasn't really been able to just like go whole hog with like our apartment, or there were certain things for the wedding that we were like, you can go whole hog on this, but then other things where she couldn't. So she was like, oh my gosh, an entire condo. My brother is like, yes, please do it for me. So she's thrilled, right? And spent weeks on Nextdoor finding incredible furniture and, Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that. I will say, Marin County is great for things like Nextdoor because there's a lot of people who have a lot of nice stuff and they don't care what happens to it. They just want you to take it. So she's been taking things there in her car. She's been they did get movers, but she helped him pack. She helped him unpack, organizing the kitchen, organizing the living room, hanging the TV in the living room, weeding the, walk. And then the other day she gets like shooting flank pain and went to the ER because she was like, is this like a kidney stone? Like, what's going on? So I went with her, and the nurse is asking her, and she's like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, my son moved recently, but I didn't like move any boxes. I was just helping unpack. And I was like, Mom, you've been waiting. You've been carrying things from next door to and from your car. And the nurse was like, uh-huh. Yep. And you're in your 70s? Uh-huh.
That'll do it.
Yep.
So my poor mom really had to take it easy for, she's still feeling it a little bit, actually. So, I'm making it into a funny story, but it is in fact actually.
Yeah.
At least she didn't like really tweak her back or anything like that. I think it's just muscular, but yeah, be careful out there.
Yeah.
I guess in that vein, I will coin concede to my grandmother, who is 96. Will be, I think, will be 97 this year.
Well, if she's 96, then I would imagine
she'll
be.
That yes, but I may have gotten that number wrong.
Okay.
She claims that she's very, she's fine going up and down the stairs. She just realizes now that she has to hold the railing because she went down and then had her hands full carrying stuff up from the basement, fell down the stairs, and hit her head on a table that was at the bottom.
Yeah,
and
that'll do it.
Apparently, my when my cousin and aunt saw it, they were like, "This looks like someone was murdered, right? Like just trail, because headwinds bleed a lot."
Yeah.
And so the trail from like up the stairs to the bathroom, which is quite close to the top of the stairs, was substantial. So I worry about her, and I wish she would be more careful.
Figured out that she needs to hold the handrail now. So
and let other people carry stuff up from the basement.
Yeah, no, that's tough.
But also, I have a lot of respect for her. She lives alone at 96 and does a lot of stuff herself. Like, she's a very impressive woman. But yeah,
yeah, important to I understand and admire really keeping yourself independent as much as possible, but it's also, I mean, even for younger people, you have to be careful about these things sometimes. Recognize where your limits are, as my husband is always telling me when I'm like in pain because I sat, and he's like, "Did you sit in a weird position again?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah." He's like, "Someday that is going to like keep hurting you for more than 5 minutes after you get out of the position."
If
just
you keep making her face like that, it's gonna stay. It's gonna stay that way.
To which I'm like, well, I should take advantage of still being able to sit like a weirdo now while I still can. And he's just like, oh my God.
Well, what about you, Megasa?
Yeah, I technically didn't include a coin concede in there, but I will coin concede to my mom, who hopefully is continuing to feel better and can get back to what she really enjoys, which is interior decorating projects and finding good deals on the internet.
Well, with that, that'll do it for us for this week. So until next time, keep calm and put some respect on Underking's name. And if you see us on ladder, coin concede.
Coin concede.
Coin concede.
All life must end. I yield for now. I concede. Well fought. I concede.
You win this one.
The victory is yours.
You have bested me.
I give up.
You win this one, friend.